it's Lorna and Tauren Wells, and we are so excited to be a part of the Air One Worship Now for October on how God is the provider. Not only because we love Air One, but because we're passionate about worshiping through our giving.
Now, unlike Lorna, who has always been an amazing giver, I was reluctant and definitely not a cheerful giver early on in our marriage, but so much has changed since then, and there are so many stories of God's faithfulness and provision toward us. I just want to share a moment that shifted my entire perspective on giving back when I was in my 20s.
Now here's an exclusive sneak peek from an upcoming episode of our new Alive and Wells podcast.
Now, if you don't know, Lorna and I, this is a long story short, Lorna and I met in college. We did not date. We were good friends. And then I got out of school. She got out of school. I kind of bounced around a little bit. She went back home and started working at her church. We continued to be friends, and the church wanted an intern in their youth ministry. And so I was moving to Houston anyways to work at another church. And Lorna was like, hey, my dad will hire you. So I moved to the church. We were not dating or anything like that. And I started working as an intern. And when I moved to Houston, I had one plastic container that had 2 pairs of shoes, 1 sport coat, couple pairs of pants, shirts, the essentials, and some books. But everything I owned fit in one box.
Wow.
And I started making regular money from the church. Now, right before, this was the fall before I moved to Houston to work at your dad's church, I attended another church in Houston. And the pastor preached a message on giving. And it literally changed my life. First of all, we went there and we sang for the pastor's mother. Just in the pastor's office, acoustic guitar, we sang an old Leland song called Yes You Have. All the OGs out there know that song.
Mm-hmm.
And the pastor gave us all $100. I had not seen a $100 bill. And I don't know how long. And I was floored. On a Wednesday night, he preached a message, and he brought 3 guys up in front of the church. And he said, I'm going on a trip, and I am leaving my wife here under the provision and care of these 3 individuals. And he said, I'm giving them each a certain amount of money. And then I'm going to go, and when I return, I will see how she was taken care of. And he went through each guy. The one guy used none of the money on his wife. He used it all for himself. The other guy went out, bought a truck. Her basic needs were met and nothing else. The other guy used the majority of the money on his wife. He said, when I came back, guess who I gave more money to?
The guy who took care of his wife?
To the guy who took care of his wife. He said, this is a picture of how God operates with his people and his bride.
Mm.
If you are willing to open your heart and your hands to take care of the bride of Christ, the people, the church, the things of God, then there will always be resources flowing through you.
That's so good.
And that arrested my heart.
I know I've been where you've been. Money conversations are not easy. What we want to do is just encourage you through the evidence where we've seen God's provision, blessing, and faithfulness, not just in his response to our generosity, but to other people's radical generosity toward us. This is never give to get. We know that God's not some genie in a bottle, but there are biblical principles that activate the goodness of God in our lives. So we want to see God's blessings flowing in you, through you, and all around you.
Amen. Thanks for watching. We'd love to do more of this with you. So if you haven't already, subscribe and listen to our new podcast, Alive and Wells, on accessmore.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts.